heated.
Yes,
Yeah, mine's not, so that's not happening.
I only heat it when I need to go in there. That's the nice part. Hey, Dave.
Hey,
Where's Dave's corner?
right here.
Nice.
He put a piece of paper up that says Andy's corner or Dave's corner. I'm not sure which.
Hang on 1 sec.
I want to see your spackle job.
And Mike Fury's on. Andy's corner.
And in this corner, weighing in.
There we go.
Andy and Dave's corner.
Well, I figured if I was going to get roasted, I might as well put something up in return.
Hey, we're gonna have a painting party at your sanding and painting party.
That sounds good. How you guys doing?
Good.
All right.
Anything new?
No.
No.
Good.
Yeah,
Sometimes
we're gonna wake up to snow on the ground, and that's nothing new.
no, it's not definitely for sure.
Hi, Kristen.
Hey, good evening.
So, Paul,
Yeah.
who's the man, Paul?
Oh, please. My mind meld worked exactly what I wanted it to. No, thank you, Mike. Thank you.
I got a response. We got a response from the DEP. That's
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with anything of significance. It has to do with me personally. So that was easy for them to take care of. Actually, it's not taken care of yet. They said they're going to take care of it. So we'll see how it goes.
Right. All right. Let me get situated here. Danelle, is Steve gonna be on?
Yes.
Wait.
Oh,
All right.
I don't believe Harry's gonna be on tonight. He called me earlier, so he might not be here today.
He had a death in the family.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple
he's-
things going on.
hey, Howie.
Hey, Howie.
Hello.
All right. I think everybody's here.
Rich is here. Steve is here. Kristen, no filters for the cats.
Filters for cats?
Yeah, you got the filter in the background for the background now. I see the lake.
Oh, yeah.
So now what we'll put on the next filter is the cat look,
That's actually our fine Pochuck Creek in the background.
Is it?
There you go. All right. We're going to get started. Welcome, everybody, to the Vernon Township MUA meeting for March 18th, 2021. Statement of compliance pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of the regular meeting has been provided to the public and the press on January 20th, 2021 by delivering to the press such notice and posting the same at the municipal building and file with the office of the township clerk. Salute to the flag.
I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to the flag
Flag,
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty
liberty,
and
justice
justice for all.
Yes.
And now you want to do a roll call, members and professionals
Yes. Mike Fury,
here.
Paul Carney,
Here.
Andrew Pittsger,
Present.
Kristen Wheaton,
Present.
Dave McDermott,
Here.
Harry Shortway is absent. We have Steve Benoski, our engineer, on. We have Rich Wenner, our attorney, myself, the administrator, and Howie Leisure, our licensed operator.
There we go. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We'll entertain a motion to open to the public.
I'll make a meeting open to the, motion open to the public.
Second that.
Motion made by Cooney, seconded by Andy Pittsger. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right, no abstain. Danelle, anybody from the public?
Do not see anybody raising their hands. There's nothing in the chat, and I did not receive any emails or phone calls. So I think you're safe to move on.
Okay, you want to entertain a motion to close to the public?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Paul Carney, seconded by Kristen Wheaton. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right, moving on to number 6, approval of the bills. Everybody had a chance to go over the bills list, and there are any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Getting cleaner and cleaner.
Yeah, this is well put together.
Yeah. Still appreciate the details, Danelle. That really is helpful to have. I know it's a lot of extra paperwork to copy and scan, so, but it is appreciated from my side.
Always. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any questions about the bills list? Resolution 21-22. If there's no questions, anybody wants to entertain a motion to approve the bills list?
Motion to approve the bills list for 2020, yeah. Sorry about that. 21-22.
Good. Do I hear a second?
I'm seconding.
All right. Motion made by Andy Pittsger, seconded by Paul Carney. Danelle, you want to take a roll call?
Sure. Mike Fury,
Yes.
Paul Carney,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Dave,
Dave
you're muted.
McDermott. You're muted.
He's muted. Can I unmute him?
He just lost his connection.
Dave, you gotta push the button.
Yeah, he's still
I don't know if
connected.
he's there.
He's connected. You're still muted.
I can come back to him. Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Rich, can I move on with 4 or should I wait?
No, 4 is enough. You could
Okay.
mark the 5th as not voting.
Okay. Okay. What do we have next?
Can you unmute him? Did Danelle on your side or no?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I asked. Well, I can ask him to unmute. I can't actually
I
unmute. There he is.
Does that sound better?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I don't know how I got muted.
Okay. No. Danelle, we don't have any minutes to approve?
No, the minutes were just finished up today.
Well, how many sets of minutes? Just one set of minutes?
Just the one set, yeah, just the last meeting.
Okay, that's one no. All right, so there's no minutes at this, number 7, no resolutions. Number 8, we're going to subcommittee reports. We'll go right into 9A, pump station number 2, transfer stations, we'll just get an update from Steve if you're here. If you can give us an update on the pump station design.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Mike. Hi, everyone.
Hi,
So, so we have began, working on the design for the pump station, which as it stands now would essentially leave room to accommodate the lift station and the additional flow from the lift station, but it currently does not include the lift station.
You mean transfer station?
Sorry, transfer station. Thank you, Kristen. Yes. It currently does not include the transfer station, but it, would accommodate it in the future. And I know that kind of my discussions with DEP regarding the transfer station haven't really gone anywhere. I know Donnell is going to, or just did, send in the letter that was distributed about a week ago. Hopefully that would spur some activity with DEP.
Did you send that in yet, Danelle?
Yes, I did.
Steve, on a time frame to get the design and the permit application ready, when do you think that'll be done?
Yeah, so generally we do it in a few different steps for something like this. The first step would be kind of preliminary drawings that would to make sure that we're on the same page and you guys could look at it, how we could look at it, whoever could look at it, to make sure that, we're on the same page. And then the next step would be what we would call permit ready drawings, which would be drawings which more or less show everything, have everything, but they may not, say, for example, include a detailed electrical design or a detailed structural design, because generally, the permit agencies, DEP, the SCUMA, those are generally things that they don't, it's not really in their jurisdiction, if you will. They don't really care a whole lot about that. So normally with the permit drawings, we don't go into the full detail with primarily electrical and structural. And then, basically once those get in, we would advance electrical and structural. And, basically once those get once we know that they're okay with everything, we finish off the electrical and structural. So basically we're thinking for the preliminary drawings to make sure we're all on the same page, beginning of April. And permit ready drawings could be likely the end of April, with the first step being those to be approved, endorsed, I guess they call it, by SCUMA.
When do you think we'll have shovels in the ground, Steve?
Let's see here. So if that, so 161, in the fall.
Yeah, so with the recent problems that we're seeing with Pump Station 2, and how he's going to go over it during his report, I think we gotta move quicker to get this done.
Yep.
Because we're having so many issues with the current pump station, and Howie can, when Howie goes to his operator's report, he'll explain what he saw, and I know he agrees with me. So it is on its last leg, and we have to have a sense of urgency in getting this done, because we're gonna have issues with this. So I think when we go to do this with DEP, I think we document to them there's a little bit of an urgency here, because of the problems we have with the pump station, and we don't want to have to put in a lot of repairs and to a failing station, and so when you send that down to the DEP, I think if you'd stress that would be helpful.
Yep. Because normally they can be up to 3 months, and the bidding phase and awarding the contractor and notice to proceed and all that stuff, that can easily take 2 to 3 months right there. So there's hopefully there's room to shave some time off some of those processes. Yep.
Do you, I know on the drinking water side, it was reorganized. Was divisional water quality reorganized? Do you know? Like that whole,
Not to my knowledge, no.
are you doing? All right, well, that's good. So then you'll at least get, answers in a timely fashion.
Yep, and there's things that we
Anticipated-
can do to save time, as far as their review goes, so.
Right. All right, good. That sounds good. Any questions from anybody?
I guess I'm very concerned that we get this moving as fast as possible. Just as you said, Mike, the breakages, and we've planned for some of this, but it's coming mission critical now that we get shovels in the ground sooner than later.
Okay.
I really like to see it done by starting in June or July, not the fall. But I know we need to put a little pressure on DEP to work with us because they're very slow to react, and I'm very concerned that they're going to drag their feet on us again and again.
This also points out or shines a bigger light on, when we had a muffin monster down for an extended period of time, how quickly things could go south when you don't have the correct equipment in place. We had an issue this past week at the pump station. We are lucky that so far without, while that muffin monster was out for far too long, as far as I'm concerned, that we didn't have a major pump issue, which would have would have really put added zeros onto bills to repair or replace. So, things have to be done in a timely manner and with attention to detail so that, we avoid, breaks and problems and equipment down due to another piece of equipment being down. We have to be more diligent in getting these things fixed faster when we can. Now, I understand there was, issues trying to get a muffin monster, but I don't know. I don't know if there's another way to go about getting things faster. There may not be, but it just seemed to me that delay was just lighting a fuse and waiting and hoping you get to put it out before it hits that stick of dynamite.
Yeah, I agree. Well, there is an sense of urgency for number 2. So anybody
Okay.
else? So if we can make that a priority. That's the key. Go ahead.
I just have a question. Could are all of our pump stations equipped with the same equipment so that we could have a storage area for spare parts? Like, so that you don't have to have something for pump station 3, something for pump station 2, something for pump station 1, and they all have different style pumps or whatever. And
Yeah, I know that. I know that's true. Number 2, and how you could probably speak to this. There's 2 different pumps in pump station 2, right?
they're
There's a
different.
Sulcer pump. Is that true, Howie?
Yeah, 2 different brands.
Yeah. So.
Well, listen, having the same pumps may not always be possible. You have different pumping parameters, different lift, different, size pipes that they're attaching to, going to. So the pumps themselves may not be able to be the same. But it is a good idea when you can to have, the same throughout. It's good to have that kind of inventory when you can. But in the case of something when you have to pump, there's different pump curves and all those things that are involved. They may not be feasible. That I don't know.
Well, on the control
Sulzer
side,
the preferred? I'm sorry, just a quick question. Sorry, Mike. Is Sulzer the preferred brand of pumps, or is there not a preferred brand?
I think that is true, Howie, right? Sulcer, the grinder pump.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a manageable pump, especially at pump station 2 compared to the older one that we have. It's half the size.
Okay. Yeah. So you know, in terms of like electrical parts and controls, is it possible, Howie, to have like backup parts for like control systems and electrical relays and all that, or we don't? Is it not possible?
No, it's possible that we can get the backup parts and have spares for them.
Do we have spares?
We had, the only thing that we had for pump station 2, being that we were speaking about it, is the fuses that they went a couple times on us in the past, and then we do have extra fuses where we fixed that to put them, you know, got them fixed and in.
Yeah. Well, to Paul's point, let's get some backup parts so we don't get caught, you know, without having the parts. Because I know when you go to order parts and like with the Muffin Monster, there's a 8-week lead time, and with some parts, you know, it could take 4 to 6 weeks to get parts. So, and a lot of these companies like Blue Book and whoever you're ordering from may not have them on stock. So,
I mean, I don't know that having a backup Muffin Monster is feasible based on the cost and how many locations have them, and is that Muffin Monster interchangeable at the different places? I would think probably not if the pumps are different sizes. So something of that nature, we probably couldn't have a backup on, and maybe we could. If we could, that would be an excellent thing to have an extra one around, because all it takes is, you know, one bad load of something coming through into a pump that's not protected by a Muffin Monster, and there's a great deal of expense. But I don't know that it would be an interchangeable part like that.
But on that, Paul, with what you're commenting on, without having a Muffin Monster, we installed a screen temporarily just to help us from getting all that in.
Okay,
So we were at 2 or at 3.
that's good. Okay.
So we did try to help prevent some of it from going in.
Oh yeah, and the Muffin Monster not getting here, you know, in you know, a timely manner. That doesn't fall on you. That falls on, you know, manufacturers or the supply chain. You know, I'm sure nobody's sitting around, we don't need that right away, but it does. It just, you know, it gets me worried knowing that there's assets that are unprotected, you know, properly, and you know, screens are going to do so much, but then that could lead to another problem with things backing up.
Yes.
You know, it did one begets another, and I'm just trying to, you know, looking a little forward thinking here, how we could be prepared for the next event. And listen, luckily nothing happened with that, and we were able to, you know, get through.
that's a good point. All right. Any other questions about Pump Station 2? If not, then we're going to move on to, I'm sorry, sewer service area. I know Danelle sent something out today. If you could just, I don't know, either Steve, you can mention, like, you're talking about swapping out some blocks. You know, give us an update on the sewer service area.
Yeah, so there's 3 primary things, I guess, 3, I think it is. So, you know, as discussed in the last meeting, we've more or less resigned ourselves that we cannot retain all the areas in the environmentally sensitive areas. But there's 3 things that we can do, which we're in process of. One is any properties that have a site plan application with the municipality. There probably won't be many, but maybe there'll be 1 or 2, or a construction permit, a site plan or a construction permit. Second thing is any properties that has a treatment works approval through the DEP. Again, there probably won't be many, but there may be a couple. And the third thing is properties that are partially, third thing is properties that are partially encumbered. You know, if the environmentally sensitive, if the ESA boundary kind of clips the property, some of those can be what they call rounded to take the property out. And the fourth thing is really properties that have existing structures. So there's probably not a whole lot of properties that fall in those 4 categories, but there will be some that will come back, or that will remain in the sewer service area. And we're going through that process now. Hopefully have that done soon.
So in your mind, Steve, or in Danelle too, you're close to this too. If you do all what they want, the DEP wants to do, and we submit the final map, do you anticipate there's any other loose ends, or it's just a matter of them approving it?
I mean, Steve, you can speak to this too, but it's my feeling that as long as we're going along their guidelines, what they said that they will probably allow us in, I don't anticipate it taking long for the ones that, you know, are in line with what they've asked us to do. I don't think it'll take long because we're doing exactly what they've asked us to.
So, but realistically, it could be finalized by the middle of April. I mean, like, you know, I know we could submit by then, but
right.
the
So,
DEP has
there is one thing, and I was going to bring it up in my report. Steve and I met with a developer. Was that last week, Steve? At the end of the week before, I don't even remember. But we met with them because they're working on homes and applications for homes up near Snowshoe and Alpine trails. One of them has to go before the land use board for approval, so that's going to take time. And I believe the other three don't need land use board approval, but they do need to be approved, like through the actual process on the township side. I would like those to be included in the sewer service area. Right now, they wouldn't be because there's no existing approvals for them. So I mean, I don't know. I can touch base. I know that I was speaking. Sorry, my phone. I'm sorry. I was speaking with the land use director administrator, and she had given me information about the land use application. I can find out when that's coming before the board, but I don't know when they would be receiving approvals.
And correct me if I'm wrong. You have to, in order to be in the sewer service area, you have to have some kind of approved plan.
Yes.
Or
an existing structure, or they've said that they would consider smoothing out lines for properties that are a majority not in an environmentally sensitive area, that ESA 25 we talk about. You know, if you have a piece of property that's, let's say 90%, and I'm just throwing a number out there, 90% not in an environmentally sensitive area, you know, they would consider smoothing the line out to include that whole piece of property. If a piece of property already has a structure on it, they would consider carving out like the area, and please, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but carving out the area where that structure is to allow that to be permitted in the existing sewer service area. But if there's nothing that has approvals through a land use board or through some sort of process, they're not going to look at those.
Okay, that's good. Any other questions from anybody about the sewer service area map? So we're getting closer to that. All right, we'll move on. Any update on the solid waste stormwater subcommittee?
Mr. Chair, let the record reflect that Harry Shortway arrived at 7:24.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thanks, Kristen.
I also, just real quick, we did receive a question in the chat area. I'm just gonna let you know, an anonymous person states, can someone please indicate where on the website the most current map is for the potential expansion area? I can't find it, thank you. It's actually located on the VTMUA website under rates and forms on the lower right-hand side. So I just wanted to let everybody know that.
Thank you. Any update on stormwater or solid waste?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have an update, Janelle. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, so nothing for solid waste. Some good news. The act that was just passed by Congress, the most recent the American Rescue Plan, the ARP, they did allocate funds to Vernon Township directly through the municipality, and the state is not permitted. It's my understanding the state's not permitted to control how much money comes to Vernon, which was done with the local government grant that was passed last year.
Thank God.
So, sorry?
Thank God.
This is a bit of a hurdle last year. So the money that's supposed to be coming to Vernon and to any other municipality, I was on a webinar last week about it, and we're permitted to use it for water infrastructure and sewer infrastructure. I didn't believe it until they said it. So, I mean, the idea is to obviously invest in the communities. So there is that option. The municipalities that receive do have the option, or government entities, I should say, that receive it do have the option to move that money over to other organizations like the MUA or another organization that would do the sorts of projects that are approved through the ARP. So that would be like water and sewer infrastructure. So along the lines of our water at town center, I think it's a really good possibility that we could use that. Some of those funds are, would be available for a project like that.
That leads me. All right. Anything else on stormwater or solid waste? If not, we'll go to bylaws personnel subcommittee. Dave McDermott or Andy, anything?
Dave, do you want to say anything?
Just as we all know, Colette put her papers in, and we're on the hunt for somebody new.
Yep, and
I've been interviewing this week.
And I believe Colette's last day is tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for
All
her
right.
services, and we appreciate the year she's been with us.
Yeah, thank you, Colette. Anything else on personnel subcommittee? Nothing else. That leads us to E9E water supply subcommittee. I know I saw an email that Corey was reaching out to Suez, and then along the same line about it's good news that money's available for water and wastewater infrastructure projects, and I'm under the understanding also too that there might be more additional funding coming down from that same plan for water and wastewater projects.
Yeah,
So
the state has their own, I should say the state has money, I believe, to get to the counties, and the counties, from my understanding, they can disperse it to the municipalities as well.
Yeah, I know it's possible because we operate a water system, a very small one, who's receiving, and they're waiting to hear from EPA. The money's going to come through EPA directly down to the states, and this small little community system is getting about $800,000. So it's a significant amount of money. So I think there's money available, and I'm not sure how it's going to come to the states, and that's something we want to look into. But what's the update now about? She reached out to Tony Vincente for water in the town center. Do you have anything else?
Yeah. So I again, part of my report, I spoke with Corey actually today about this, and he did email Tony. He didn't hear back from him, so he is going to touch base with him either tomorrow or next week and give him a call and see where things stand. I mean, really, we did meet a couple months ago about this, and Corey did say the next step is to have an agreement with Suez. But that has to be beneficial to both parties. It's not just going to be the township or the MUA footing the bill for everything. I think coming to some sort of mutual agreement where both parties benefit is in the best interest of everyone. So we just really need to meet again and hash those details out.
Yeah, what is I saw that about the agreement. Like I was at that meeting. Like, what agreement is he talking about? Like some kind of franchise agreement?
Well, it could be a number of things. So it could include franchise, meaning we could do what the town has done in the past and give the franchise over to Suez. It could be a combination of, and I think we've talked about this, about Suez applying for iBank funding, which they are eligible to do. And I don't know if they are aware of that. So it's a matter of letting them know, like they can pay for part of this too. It does.
Well, they know that. Yeah, they've been to the iBank.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny because when I spoke with the iBank, they were like, like you just said, they should know that. But that's never been brought up in our discussions. Like they can go to the iBank too, to pay for part of this because it does benefit their franchise area in addition to the existing township franchise area. I think there's got to be some middle ground.
So it has to be some kind of agreement between Suez and the township of what we're going to do. Well, what we consider phase 3, which is the
Yes.
remaining part of town center that doesn't have water supply, which obviously now with potential development, there is a need for water supply to come to town center. So, and then whether this MUA wants to take on the responsibility to be either keep it as a water system and buy the water from Suez, or give up the franchise area, and ultimately that decision is going to have to be made by the township. Any more questions about water supply? As soon as we'll reach out to Suez, we'll hear back, and then we can move to the next step. 9F, Finance Subcommittee. I don't think there's anything real significant on a Finance Subcommittee.
No.
Andy, anything? All right. Number 10, discussion about Vernon Valley Investors Acme. Danelle, you want to just leave that off and tell us what's going on?
Yeah, sure. So, the guys from Acme have come and brought their concerns before the board about their existing EDU calculations. They did request that we review their calculations, which are standard calculations for that type of property. We did do that. Steve did that. He also sent somebody to visit the site to review their existing vacant storefronts and confirm that they're vacant. I don't know, Steve, if you want to talk to that. I did forward, all the board members should have some information on what the proposed then would be.
Yeah, so there was actually one of the units which was documented as vacant in the information from their engineer from, I believe it was probably January that's dated, is actually currently being fit out for an expansion of, I forget which one it was. So basically there's one less vacant unit than they had documented, which just changes, I think I'm saying this right. So basically I think, hang on, let me open it up. They would normally have, considering all the units, they would have, I believe it's 57 EDUs. The information that their engineer sent over, which did not properly account for one of the units, was I think 52 EDUs. And when you account for the expansion of the total iCare, it leaves 1, 2, 3, 4 vacant units for a total of 53 EDUs. So basically 57 EDUs total, 53 if you account for the 4 vacant units.
All right. Have they paid? Are they current on their sewer payments?
They had a delinquency notice that went out last week.
So they're not current.
They are not current because the first quarter was due on the 1st and they did not pay it.
Well, and I'm going to open up the discussion to everybody on the board. I thought one of the agreements that we had were that they had to be current before we even considered a reduction in EDUs, and we thought that was reasonable. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, we have to negotiate in good faith, and if they're not paying right now, that's not good faith. So I think we have to keep that in mind.
That was at a meeting. If I'm not, I'd have to check my notes, but at a meeting we said, okay, they're up to date. We can talk to them now because they paid their.
Right.
Yeah, it was just like the last meeting or two that
Yes.
that they were, all up to date. So that's discouraging. But I agree. They they have to be up to date.
Andy? Got to unmute. Unmute.
Yep. All right. Sorry about that. I mean, the only reason I think they were behind actually from last year, correct, Danelle?
Yes.
And the only reason that they paid last year's bills is because we denied them their permits to put in that addition. So the only reason that they have paid is to get their permits. And I don't want to start this same cycle again with them. If they can't keep up with their bills with us in fairness, because of all of our other users who do a good job of doing that, especially the small users, it's not fair to them as well.
So it sounds like that was the permit that maybe started this construction that
Yep.
Steve is seeing in the
Mhm.
formerly vacant unit. So
Yeah.
is there, so I
There's-
presume, so,
Well, it wasn't just the permit. They were refusing to do inspections there as well. And it wasn't just, they put, I believe like new units on the roof for Acme itself. So he wasn't allowing like the permits or the inspections for those either, which, you know, kind of pushed them to get in. But I'm gonna email the construction code official and let him know that they're delinquent again.
Yeah, but we've been fair. I mean, Steve and his people have gone over there. They've evaluated the situation as we said we would do, and we're complying with what we've said we would work with. But fair is fair. Let's, everybody must be fair with each other, and they're not complying. And I understand that they're looking for a reduction, but that means we spread out the EDU billing to everybody, so everybody takes a hit, and we can't do that. And then, you know, holding back 12 months before that's basically grand larceny, in my opinion.
So we all agree with that. Is there any kind of Danelle, you have to respond to them, or what's the next step?
I mean, I can send them a notice that, you know, the board considered it, but they need to be up to date with their bills in order for us to move forward.
All right, is that reasonable, everybody?
Yeah, but we're talking about an adjustment of 4 EDUs, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
57 to 53.
And I'll take that in consideration going forward, but they got to be fair with us too.
Well, let them make the next move, and then get current with their bills, and then we'll consider it.
agree.
Agree.
All right.
That's it. Yeah,
Everybody
agree.
agrees with-
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else on that on number 10? No, we'll move on to number 11. Do you want to do the licensed operator update first? Danelle, what do you want to do? Your update?
Do you mind if I don't have a lot left, because we just spoke about a lot. But just real quick, so I did send that letter to the DEP regarding the transfer station that everybody reviewed a couple weeks ago. Pump station 2, I'm still waiting on a bill for pump station 2, an estimate. I've requested that twice. Steve and I already talked to you about, we met with the developer regarding Snowshoe and Alpine. I did also reach out to Green Realty. If you guys remember, a couple months back, I had called them. The owner was out and not answering, did not check his voicemails for a few months due to COVID. He did notify me that they were going to be coming by in the spring to fill out their application to be connected. So I just called to remind them that it's going to be springtime soon and that they need to come in to fill out their application. I've been interviewing applicants this week for the assistant position. I've got a lot of resumes. One thing also, last meeting, the past couple of meetings, I've been letting you guys know about the risk managers. So I've interviewed 4 risk managers. One is from the private sector, but he offers the same services as the government entity managers that I've met with. I did reach out to our current risk manager about getting documentation for our policies, like how our premiums are calculated through the statewide insurance fund. I have not heard back from them. I have copies of our policy documents from statewide, but there's no detail in those in order to be able to shop insurance in the future, and we need that detail. I will reach out again. I don't understand why our current risk manager has not gotten back to me, but I will reach out again. And lastly, the standard operating procedures. So that's been on a bit of a back burner. I've been working on those a little bit. Right now we have 2 SOP books currently, and there are things that have obviously changed in the past decade, new things that we've just incorporated since Howie took on. So I want to make sure that our current SOPs are incorporated into the old procedures and that we have a set standard moving forward. And my goal for that is the end of May. And that's it for me.
I gotta go back for on the green realty.
Yes.
Correct me. I think we talked about this about the mandatory connection.
Yes.
Explain that, the mandatory connection.
Right. So, okay. So we sent out letters years ago, telling people that they had to connect, they had to fill out the application for connection, they had to get allocation. Green Realty did that, as did everybody else. At the time, it wasn't Green Realty, it was owned by the Board of Education. So they did that, they paid their connection fees, and then it stopped. So they paid their connection fees, but they never went to the building department to fill out all their permitting. They never connected to the actual line. And there's nothing that the board can really do to, we can't enforce that, right? We can't enforce the connection to the sewer lines. It's my understanding, and Rich, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's my understanding that we don't have that enforcement authority, that it would be the township that would have that enforcement authority. And I don't even know if the township can enforce anything because we don't have an ordinance mandating hookup.
Rich,
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm just processing what you said. So correct, in terms of forcing the hookup, the penalty is we bill you for it.
Right. And they're being billed, and they pay the
Yeah.
bills. It's just a matter of that we have no other way to enforce it.
Rich, I was on the impression there was a state mandate. If you're within a certain distance from the sewer line, that you have to connect.
Well, we have that in our regulations, but the enforcement that we have is the billing as if you were connected. So, we can look into whether that's really a state Board Health Department of Health issue or a DEP issue in terms of forcing compliance. But on our end, on the MUA side, our remedy is to treat it as if you are hooked up. And the idea obviously is to, if you're an owner and you're paying for sewer, you might as well go ahead and actually connect. Yeah, right.
Right, if you're paying, like it's odd that you won't pay. So what you're saying that if the town had an ordinance that it's mandatory to hook up, then you would have to hook up. Correct?
If the town, right, then you still get to enforcement, right? So you can have all the ordinances in the world. How do you compel enforcement or compel enforcement? And typically the way you compel enforcement is through the pocketbook. You don't often go in on for a writ of mandamus, for a court order compelling the property owner to undertake a certain action. It's the incentive in undertaking that action is through the application and enforcement of fines and penalties.
Right.
But
the only way that you would have to do that, if they had a big system that failed, they had no choice but to hook up. Now that's another enforcement mechanism. The whole department can come in and say, "Oh, your septic system has failed, and now you have to hook up."
Correct.
So did I understand correctly? They have paid the connection fees to SCUMA in the town?
It's in their file that they've paid the connection fees to the township. I can probably look into finding out if they paid the connection fees to SCUMA. I would assume that the Board of Education did.
And they're paying their regular bills.
Yes.
All they do is run a pipe and connect. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, that might be a big cost for them.
Well, it might. Yeah, it might be. It's connecting a pipe to a sewer line. So there is a connection fee. There's a building the pipe. You have to pay for that. So no, that's good. That was my only question. Any other questions for Danelle?
Just Danelle, if you could just check on that, because I was advised a few years ago they've never paid connection fees to the county, SCUMA, or the township. And I knew they were paying the EDUs. We can just make sure we verify that they had paid that. Then my suggestion is if you want an enforcement, perhaps Rich or somebody draft an ordinance from here, and Mike, you send it over to the mayor, see if he'll support it and get it before the council and see what the council will do to pass it.
Yep, certainly. I'll talk to Danelle about that.
Thank you.
All right, Kristen.
Just regarding the letter that went to the state about the transfer station that went to DEP, it was addressed very generically. Was it addressed to a specific person there?
No. So what I did was I actually sent it to Gabriel Mahone at the DEP because I don't know contacts at like a specific reviewer. He's above Paul DeMuro, so I asked him to please forward that along to the correct department that might handle that. He's been really good with being responsive. So.
Okay, thank you.
Who was that to know?
Gabriel Mahone.
Gabriel Mahone.
And what's Paul DeMuro's title?
That's a good question.
It's probably in one of those emails that we have.
Exactly what I'm looking at. You know, it's got to be in there somewhere. Where do I know it?
Chief Delighter.
Nice,
I'm
Mike.
not gonna say that.
I'm not easily
Very nice,
offended.
Mike.
Go ahead.
He doesn't have it. There's no title on here. It just says the Bureau of Environmental Analysis, Restoration and Standards.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything else for Danelle? All right, let's move on to Howie's update. Howie, go ahead.
We had the guys go back to Valley Bunyan to do their monthly inspection with the camera. Found nothing, just, I still believe that it's just lack of use and the pipes are drying up in there, and anything that they rent when they lease it or whatever they do monthly to whoever comes in, that's the only flow that's being used in it. So that's causing for the next person to just have a little backup in there, and it makes it go slow. The grinder come in, Jim put it in, installed it. They put a new junction box. The thing's up and running.
And that grinder is for pump station 3?
Station 3.
Okay.
And then last Friday, pump 2 ruptured the outlet, the discharge line at pump station 2. Mike's Mobile was contacted over the weekend. They came in Monday. They cut the existing pipe out where the crack was, but upon emptying the tank, that whole discharge line that was inside the tank from the pump to the wall needed to be replaced. So it took them a little longer than what they thought it was going to do. It ended up taking 2 days. We had the trucks there to pump out anything that needed to be, and they discharged it at pump station 3. Steve, according to your email there, I did contact Gem Electric, and from what he looked at, and he's going to do it again next week, he believes that all of them are single phase and 240 at the condos, and that goes in, that question's for the generator.
Okay, yep, they're just, and some markings on the boxes had us a little confused.
Yeah, he's going to come in again next week, and I contacted him today and just check everything just to make sure everything's the same.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
So
Hey,
pump
Howie.
station, Howie, so
Okay, go ahead.
station 2 is back up and running and clean, ready to go, right?
Say that again.
Yeah,
Three?
pump station 2 is clear and everything is running 100%.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Hey, Howie, was there any additional work that he had to do besides fix the pipe?
He put a stabilizer on the pipe. He felt that the stabilizer was maybe the cause of it from when the pump kicks on. so it doesn't actually maybe twist the line.
Right, good.
But additional, we cleaned the tank while we had the pump trucks in there. We sucked out all the grit.
Good.
All right. I have a question about the force main evaluation. I'm going to go back, but is there an update on the force main evaluation? Either one, Howie or Danelle, do you have an update on that?
Yeah, we're so Ferraro is the one that we're working with for that. They did order whatever I don't know if it's parts, Steve. I know they sent some stuff over to you about looking at some of their specs.
Yeah.
So they ordered the parts, they're just waiting on them.
Yep.
That's my understanding from the last email I had from them last
Right,
week.
so Ferrero was doing or will do the air release replacements and the pressure gauge. And Fred Cook will do the CCTV, I believe. And Ferrero is a couple weeks out from having the pressure gauge and the air release valves, I believe.
So when's the camera work going to be done? Anybody
It
know?
has to wait for the air release valves to come in.
And the intent is to coordinate at the same time, correct, Donna?
Yes. Yeah, and both vendors are aware of that. So as soon as the
Okay, good.
ARVs come in, we'll be able to move on it. We just have to wait for those to come in.
There was another, all right, thanks. There was another thing I wanted to bring up about, and we talked about this, about possibly putting out an RFP for emergency repairs. I did speak to Bob Hallowick from Sussex Borough, and they obviously have a water and sewer system, and they thought they'd be interested in working together and possibly doing a joint proposal, send it out for emergency repairs. I know we got to work on that. We got to work on some kind of RFP. But what I'd like to do, when's our next meeting, Danelle? April 1st?
April 1st, yes.
Yeah, so I invited Bob to our next meeting. He's going to come to our next meeting, just introduce himself and then tell us about their needs and whether we can work together and on a joint proposal for merge. And I think it's something I want whoever, Danelle, to work on, work with Howie and Steve to at least start putting something together, because I think it's much better that we have an emergency contract, because we have issues with Pump Station 2. It's much better to not pay emergency rates, but pay a flat fee for any kind of breaks or any kind of repairs. So
Yeah, we did start working, Steve and I started working with Tom, our QPA, on something like that. We just haven't gone back to that.
yeah, well, you
We'll
might be able to
definitely get working on
benefit.
it.
Yeah, you might be able to benefit from what Sussex has. So that's why I want to invite him to the next meeting, put him on the agenda, and then maybe he can help and work with us on getting something together and
Right.
share those services. Unless anybody has they have an objection to that. I mean, we at least entertain them to come to the meeting. All right. Anything else, Howie?
No, just I guess on your question, would Mike any extra? He did contact Mathis to bring a truck in the second day, which it did help, because Don from Wind River could not get me a second truck there until 10:30, 11 o'clock. So that did help by him getting a truck for us with that.
Well, that's you have somebody else now you can call on besides Wind River, right?
Yeah, like I said, it definitely helped, because in the morning time, Don ended up contacting me about 7:30 and saying that, I understand you need 2 trucks. I only have 1, and I might have trouble to get you the second one till about 10:30. And then Mike notified at 8 o'clock that he did have Mathis coming at 8:15, which, like I said, it definitely helped out to have that second one there at that time.
All right, good. All right, thanks, Howie. Any other questions for Howie? All right.
Andy, you're muted.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, I'm muted again. Howie, what's the update on the lift stations? I know we had some issues early on, and we were going to look at getting those panels taken care of.
Yes, the panels did not come in yet.
Okay.
We're waiting on that. And,
So are you
it's-
still limping on that one station where the switch isn't working correctly?
Everything is up and running and switches are working.
Really?
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
All right, so let's cross our fingers that works until we get that updated, right?
Yes. The only problem that we ended up having was over like one of those cold days is that we lost a heater.
Mm-hmm.
It tripped the breaker, but it's up and running now.
Okay. All right, good to know. Thank you.
And that's another thing that Jim had mentioned, that maybe just putting that on a thermostat instead of having it run 24 hours a
That's a
day.
good idea, and it doesn't cost that much.
Right.
Probably every one of the lift stations that have heaters should have that.
Yeah, we have to manually take them off. And, we do that about April. They just unplug them out. So that way they're not running.
It's not that hard. Okay.
So,
Very good. All right, let's make a, do I entertain a motion to open to the public for items not on the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second it.
Motion made by Dave McDermott, seconded by Andy Pittsger. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Is there anybody from the public?
Yes. Jesse?
Yes, I didn't have any comments, but I sure do now. I am shocked to hear that the Board of Ed has paid its connection fees. I'd like to know when, and I'd like to get copies of their payment or whatever documents that they paid, because up until at least 2018, I am not aware of them ever having paid. I also questioned why Green Team has been in the building for 3 years now and has never had to connect. Green Team told me it was because you cut them a break. Those are the exact words. When the Historical Society was in the building, we constantly offered to pay the connection fees. We were going to pay them ourselves, the Historical Society. And we were told, no, don't do that, just wait. But in the meantime, we were significantly slandered and denigrated and falsely accused of not paying, playing games with fees and whatever. And now I'm hearing that the Board of Ed has already paid to connect. Then I'm hearing that there's no ordinance to mandate connection or hookup. Yet we were told from the onset of this MUA that the state mandates anyone within the sewer line to hook up. And excuse me, now tonight we're told, no, I don't really think we have any way of forcing them to do that. Well, what are you going to say to all the people you took to court? All of the private homeowners and other individuals that you hauled into court and cost them big bucks for legal fees and everything else, forcing them to hook up. And now you're saying you have no way of enforcing that? I'm really confused. Let me get this straight. You are saying that the Board of Ed already has paid their connection fees, yes? That requires an answer.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know when?
We have to look into that.
Okay. All right. I'll send you an Oprah request, Donnell, for that, because I'm shocked to hear this. We've always been told that they never hooked up. And why would Green Team tell me that you cut them a break in not hooking up? If they're already hooked up, I don't get this. know, there are areas that are in the sewer service area, but then those areas aren't in the sewer service area. But some maps say they are, and some maps say they aren't. And some people say that it's a Bobcat crossing. The DEP says, no, it's not. And now we're finding this out. Folks, I am shocked to learn after 8 years that the Board of Ed is already connected. So I'll send you that Oprah request, Donnell. Thank you. That's it.
Thank God.
Mike,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, could I just briefly comment on what Ms. Palladini said as it relates anyway
Yeah, sure.
to the sewer service area and the hookups? We never said, and it was not said that they're not required. It was explicitly said that they are required to hook up to the sewer service, to the system if they're within the sewer service area. And we also said that the option to compel would require you to go to court to seek essentially what's called a writ of mandamus in order compelling the property owner to undertake that action. And that barring that, our only option to encourage people to hook up is through the issuance of one, to charge them as if they were connected, and then to issue summonses if they're not. So I'm not, that's where we're at. So I just want to make that very clear.
So so the distinction, Rich, is that, I mean, we're talking about that they've paid to connect, but they haven't actually connected.
Correct. And you're saying, well, why, please connect. If it's a violation of our regulations, which it is, and we acknowledge that we have a regulation requiring you to connect, then one, we charge you as if you were connected. And if you remain unconnected, we can issue summonses under the regulations, and then that's enforced in the court. But in terms of, but that's all monetary. None of that actually is making the connection.
Right.
That's very clear. Thanks, Rich. I appreciate that
You're welcome.
clarity.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other comments, Danelle?
Jesse's asking if she can comment again because she did not use her time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to be very clear. First of all, when we were in the building, we always paid our sewer fees from day one. We always paid them. And again, as I said, when we offered to connect time and again, we were never told, no, we already paid to connect. So then what stopped them from connecting? I don't understand. Rich, I hear what you're saying. You're saying that they were charged. Maybe I don't understand what you're saying. Why were those people who refused to connect taken to court? Maybe that's a better way of asking it.
Sure. And I don't know the particulars of the people that were taken to court, but I imagine if they were taken to court, they were taken to court for summonses that were issued for failing to comply with the requirement to connect. Right. Again, I'm speaking in terms of money. So you're in violation of the rules and regulations requiring you for mandatory hookups. You haven't hooked up yet. We issue a summons is issued for being in violation of the regulation. That summons is then heard in the municipal court. And
so in other words, those people did not pay.
I'm sorry?
So in other words, those people did not pay.
I don't know, Jesse. Yeah, I don't know the particulars.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Rich.
You're welcome.
All right. Anybody else, Danelle?
I don't have anybody else.
All right. Entertain a motion to close.
Motion to close meeting to public or public comment?
Second.
I'll second. Okay.
All right. So motion made by Andy Pittsburgh, seconded by Kristen Wheaton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Not opposed. Danelle, before we go into go number 13, can we go into commissioner comments and my comments first?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna do that. We're gonna go, before we go to number 13, we're gonna go to commissioners' comments. I'll start with Mr. Paul Carney on the upper left. Any
Yes, sir.
comments, Mr. Carney?
No, not at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Pittsger.
I just want to address some of the public comments that were made last week. One regarding the last meeting on Zoom. The Zoom platform was giving us some troubles last week. Everything is never perfect when doing this, but I apologize for under the circumstances of what we had to deal with. But I also did check on the how we are complying with the government. And according to the Division of Local Government Services, and that is DLGS, and continuing obligations to comply with the New Jersey NJSA 10:4-6, which is the Open Public Meeting Act, we were in total compliance according to the executive order of 107. When you go into those details, you do not have to have a face on the screen. We do this out of being as professional as we can, but under some circumstances, some users don't have the bandwidth or they may not have the cameras. And I think it's important to understand is we as volunteers do the best we can. So as you can see tonight, we're doing the best we can again. And I have attended other meetings. One was being SCUMA, and it's actually a phone, and that's it. And that complies with the Zoom, or actually with the Public Meetings Act, that you can do a phone conversation. So I wanted to make sure we cleared that up. And then let's see what else. Regarding conflict of interest, we've had that question brought to us a couple of times, both here and on town council. And both lawyers have also weighed in on that and have mentioned it. We are in compliance with that. And if you go into the NJSA 40:14B-1, and if you go specifically to -15, it will tell you that the conflict of interest includes that partition where we can, as I am a town council person, but I am also attending on this board as I'm a commissioner here. It is an illegal way to do it. So that is covered. And then regarding comments about Mr. Fury's conflict of interest due to his professional relationship with this town, and this is my opinion. Mr. Fury has brought a level of knowledge to this commission, and users of this town has helped us to address many issues and provide the resources that we have for the operations, the monies, the time, and the protected environment. Mike's concerns of the town, the water, and sewer are the highest regards in helping protect the town we live in. And I am proud to work with Mike, as well as Kristen, Paul, and Dave as commissioners, who all have the highest regard for this municipality and the safe and cost-effective operations to the users. And we try to protect the town as best we can. Our goal in this MUA is cited in our charters on the website, and they can be viewed there. We're eager to get control of the rates, expand the system, and upgrade the system. We have no particular private needs of this system. We're trying to do the best we can for everybody. So as volunteers, I want to commend every one of us, but from the public, appreciate the input and the comments for us to get better. But it's also, it takes time and we correct ourselves. When it comes to the meeting minutes, yes, we were behind back in 2019. We're caught up. And that is due to Danelle and her team on getting everything caught up. We stay caught up and we're doing the best we can in all those areas. And as you can see now, we're trying to update the sewer system. Pump Station 2 is necessary to get up and running. And I'm very concerned with that. My biggest concern is that DEP has been absolutely the Achilles heel for us getting anything done. And we have to continue to put pressure on them. And that I'm very concerned for. Those are my comments for tonight.
Thank you very much, Andy, for the kind words. That was nice of you and for everybody else. Kristen Wheaton.
Thanks, Mike. I just want to say thank you to Colette for her service. You came to us in a time of need, and we appreciate all that you've done for us to help us get things under control. And thank you, Andy, for looking into the video call law. I was gonna ask Rich for some clarification there. I don't, yeah, I think you've provided the clarification that that
You're-
we need.
You're welcome.
And thank you also, Andy, for your comments regarding the commissioners, and especially Mike. I agree, Mike. I mean, you know, you're doing an excellent job in, you know, keeping us on task, getting things done. You know, we have an order and a direction that we, you know, haven't had before you took on this chairmanship. So so thank you, Mike. And I guess just to comment on the entities that may have paid their connection fees but may not have actually physically connected. I understand from our council's comments that the really only resolution is that I mean, if they're paid current, then maybe we could take them to court because they haven't physically connected. But I don't see any particular benefit or impetus in taking somebody to court if they're paying their bills. If there is an environmental issue with their septic system, then that's of course a different matter. And then they, you know, I think they would be remanded to hook up by at least the health department. So yeah, I don't see the need in pursuing them in court, you know, as long as their fees are paid up to date. That's it, Mike. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chris. Thank you very much for the kind words. Let's move on to Harry Shortway.
I have no prepared comments, but I do appreciate greatly, and I support the comments that Andrew and both Kristen made, especially for the service you've given to this town, Mike, for it must be almost 20 years. And you've always been ethical, and you've done what's right for this town, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. Dave McDermott.
Mike, my feelings have been obviously spoken by everybody else. And I just, when you came on board and you said, do you want to be the chairman? And I said, no, I think I'll let you do it. Thank God. That was a great decision on my part. I'm glad you did. That being said, we're doing good. We're a bunch of volunteers out here. We're doing the best we can. And of course, there's going to be people that, you know, want to find fault, however. And so we've been living with that. And obviously, the DEP is Achilles heel is a really good term. And we've been battling basically with the same names all the time. Hopefully we can get past that and move forward, especially with regard to Pump Station 2, because that could be a real disaster. I hope everything goes our way. And that's about it for me.
All right, thanks, Dave. My only comment, I want to thank Colette for her service. She did, you know, like Kristen said, she came to us in a time of need. She did a great job, but I appreciate your work. And I too, this MUA is very engaged, and we're doing a great job, and we are steering this ship finally in the right direction. So I want to thank everybody for the effort they put into this, because there's a tremendous amount of time and effort put into this. No, it's not even just by me, but everybody on this MUA. There is effort, and this team does put the effort in to point this MUA in the right direction. So, all right, that's all I have to say. Want to entertain a motion to go for resolution 21-23 to move into executive session to discuss legal and personnel matters.
Motion.
I'll make that.
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion to go into executive session.
Second.
that.
Motion made by David McDermott, second by Kristen Wheaton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I just need to take roll call before we go in.
And Danelle, before you do that, if I could just clarify that for the record, it's personnel and for potential litigation.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Mike Fury,
Yes.
Paul Carney,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Harry Shortway. Is he here?
Harry, are you here?
I'm here.
There you go.
Okay.
Danelle, you sent the link for the executive.
Yeah, it was in the same
Yeah.
email as your packet.
Yeah, so yeah, the email that had the packet has the closed session.
Okay.
Is everybody cool with that?
I'm working on it.
Gotta find the packet again.
All right.
I saved the packet I put on the computer, then yesterday, we have to go to Monday.
All right, we're gonna keep this one open and then come back.
All righty.
Dobbs, you're playing us tomorrow. What are you doing? All right. Daniel, I didn't mean to shoot. I have my pistol out. I have my pistol out. I have my pistol out.
Oh, Mike Fury is an attendee.
I've allowed him to talk, so hopefully he can speak.
How is it that when he comes back on, he ends up as an attendee?
He's using a different link. I think he's just using like the link in the agenda or something.
You're using a suppressed PMM ID. Because those both are tracked with the work.
So Danelle, I guess tomorrow you'll be looking at maps.
Yep.
Sorry, buddy. Oh, God.
Maps and now another request that came in.
Did you get your Oprah already?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oprah. That Oprah interview was awesome, wasn't it?
The best part is Pierce Morgan walking out on the set.
Yes. I am not happy. They're British. They're entertaining, aren't they?
And then
That all falls under the category. Didn't we kick their butts in 1776? Why do we care?
and then Sharon Osbourne too, you know.
Well, no, she's okay because she keeps Ozzy,
I second that.
You need a roll call, Danelle?
Yes. Mike Fury,
Yes.
Paul Carney,
yes.
Andrew Pittsger,
Yes.
Dave McDermott,
Yes.
Kristen Wheaton,
Yes.
Do I entertain, unless anybody has any additional comments, which is probably no, do I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second,
Motion by Andy Fitzger, seconded by Dave McDermott.
yes, that was me.
Also, Danell. Is he Danell or Dave McDermott? I'm not sure which one it is, but I think it's Dave.
Oh, it's coming up, Donnell. That's funny. I'm sorry.
That's all right, doesn't matter.
Sorry about that. I sent you my link.
We know who you are by your wallpaper.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? No? Have a nice night, everybody.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Take care, everyone.
Right.
Thank
Peace
you.
out.